She said it like she was reading a menu, smiling over her wine. When we have kids, I want them to look like my ex. He has better genetics. I set my glass down and answered, then you should build your future with him, not on my wallet. By the next afternoon, while she was standing under bright lights at a dress fitting, her whole perfect day started collapsing, quietly, legally, and in writing. Hey friends, please subscribe and turn on notifications, like this video, and leave a comment with your impressions. This will be a great help. Thank you. We never tire of reminding you. It's all thanks to you. I'm 32, I live in the outskirts of Charlotte, North Carolina, and I work as an operations manager for a regional medical supply company. It's not glamorous, it is steady. My idea of a good week is simple. My bills paid on time, my truck serviced before something breaks, my mom checked on every Sunday, and my life quiet enough that I can hear my own thoughts. I met Kendra when I was 29 and she was 27. She was the kind of woman who looked like she belonged in good lighting. Perfect nails, perfect hair, always smelling like something expensive. She worked in marketing for a small real estate group and spoke in phrases that sounded like captions. The vibe, the brand, the aesthetic. At first, I liked that energy because it was different from mine. I'm a planner, she was a sparkler. Our first year together felt like a clean upgrade to my routine. She added color. I added stability. That's what I told myself. When I proposed, it was simple. No crowd, no drone video. I rented a cabin in the mountains for a weekend, cooked steak on a little grill, and asked her after we had coffee on the porch. She cried, said yes, posted a photo of the ring with a paragraph about finding your person, and I believed her. There were beige flags early, but they were the kind you explain away because you want the story to work. Like how she corrected me in public, not gently like a teacher. I'd say we're thinking October, and she'd cut in with, no, I'm thinking October. He's just along for the ride. She'd laugh and squeeze my arm like it was a joke. People laughed with her because she was charming, and I'd smile because I didn't want to be the sensitive guy. Or how she treated my job like a utility. When I got a bonus one quarter, she didn't say congratulations. She said, good, that means we can do the upgraded photo package, like my effort existed for her options. The biggest beige flag was how often she used the word logical when she wanted to do something that wasn't kind. It's logical to have the wedding at the lake venue because it photographs better. It's logical to spend more on flowers because people remember details. It's logical that you cover the deposits because your credit is stronger. Every time she said it, I heard something else under it. Your job is to make my life look good. And then there was Colby. Kendra called him my first real love, which is not something you say casually when you're building a future with someone else. Colby was 33, worked some kind of sales job that always sounded bigger than it was, and had the kind of face that made him look like he should be leaning against a sports car. He was also the kind of guy who kept popping up in stories like a recurring character that was never written out. He'd randomly be at the same restaurant when we were out. He just happened to be at the same charity event. She'd say it was coincidence, but then she'd talk about it for 2 days, like it was a cute little plot twist. And she compared. Not in a direct, obvious way at first, just little comments that landed wrong if you listened closely. Colby has such a natural confidence. Colby always knew how to dress. Colby understands the lifestyle. I'm not insecure by nature, but I'm not blind either. The second year, I told her calmly, I don't like how he orbits us. I don't want him involved in our life. She leaned back like she was in a meeting and said, it's logical to stay friendly. It shows emotional maturity. That was the first time I used the phrase back at her. Sounds logical, I said, and I meant it the way you say sure to someone who won't listen. Wedding planning turned those beige flags into bright ones. We set a date, September 14th. We chose a venue outside town, an old renovated barn with string lights and a pond. She loved it because it looked like a magazine. I liked it because it was simple and close enough that my older relatives wouldn't have to travel far. We made a spreadsheet. She treated it like a campaign. She cared about how it would look online more than how it would feel in real life. The deposits were real numbers, not vibes. Venue deposit, $4,500. Photographer deposit, $1,800. Caterer, $3,000 deposit. DJ, $600 deposit. Dress, she put $1,200 down, and planned to pay the rest later. I paid most of it because my savings were stronger and I wanted a clean start. The agreement was she'd cover part of the catering and all of the florist and makeup costs. She talked about splitting. My bank app did the actual splitting. I kept receipts because that's who I am, not in a paranoid way, in a grown man way. If I pay for something, I keep the email. If I sign something, I save a copy. It makes life easier when something goes wrong. I didn't realize I was building my exit folder. The incident that ended everything started as a dinner. It was a Thursday about 6 months before the wedding. We went to a nicer place near South Park because her cousin was in town and Kendra wanted to show her the good spots. Her cousin brought a friend, and Kendra, without telling me, invited Colby. I found out in the parking lot. She glanced at her phone, then said too casually, "Oh, by the way, Colby's coming. He's in town and wants to say hi. It'll be good for everyone to see we're mature." I just stared at her. "You invited your ex to dinner with your fiancé's family." She rolled her eyes like I was behind the times. "Don't be dramatic. It's a restaurant. We don't own it." "Sounds logical," I said, because I didn't want to argue in the parking lot, and I didn't want to make her cousin's visit uncomfortable. That phrase became my anchor. I said it when I needed to keep my tone level. Colby arrived like he was stepping onto a stage. He hugged Kendra a little too long. He shook my hand like we were competing in a grip contest. Then he sat across from me like he belonged there. For the first 15 minutes, it was small talk, food, weather, her cousin's job. Then Colby started dropping little lines about the past. "Remember when we went to Miami and you got that sunburn?" he said to Kendra, laughing. She laughed, eyes bright. "Oh my gosh, yes, you were so annoying." I sat there while my fiancée relived memories with her ex like I wasn't part of the table. Then she did it. We were talking about future plans, her cousin asking about the wedding, and Kendra said, "We're thinking kids right after." "Well, I am. He's still in the practical stage." Her cousin smiled and said, "Kids change everything." Kendra took a sip of her drink and said, "I just want them to come out, right?" I didn't like the way she said that, like a product. Her cousin asked, "What do you mean?" Kendra smiled like she was about to be clever. "You know, height, features, good hair. I don't want to do all this work and end up with, no offense, but average." She looked at me when she said average, like it was cute. People laughed uncertainly. I felt something tighten behind my ribs, but my face stayed calm. I've learned over years that the moment you look hurt in public, someone like her will file it away and use it later. Colby leaned in, enjoying it. "Well, Kendra always said she wanted tall kids." Kendra's eyes flicked to him and she smiled, and that smile was like a door opening. And then she said the sentence that killed my love in one clean cut. "Honestly," she said, and her tone was conversational, "if we're being logical, I'd prefer my kids to have Colby's genetics. He just has better genes. I mean, look at him, and look at, well, you're a great provider, but we can plan for better outcomes." She said it in a restaurant, with witnesses, like she was discussing interest rates. The table went quiet. My fork hovered over my plate like my hand forgot what it was doing. And in that silence, I realized something sharp and simple. She didn't love me, she valued me. I put my fork down and looked at her like she was a stranger. "Then you should build your future with him," I said, calm as a receipt, not on my wallet. Her smile faltered for half a second, then she tried to laugh it off. "Babe, I'm joking, don't be sensitive." Colby smirked, like I was supposed to play the role of the tolerating boyfriend. I didn't raise my voice, I didn't insult her. I just stood up, placed my napkin on the table, and said, "I'm going to head out." Her cousin's mouth opened like she wanted to say something, then thought better of it. Kendra hissed seriously, "You're embarrassing me." I looked at her one last time. "Sounds logical," I said, and walked out. I drove home alone with my hands steady on the wheel and a coldness settling in my chest that felt like clarity. When I got home, I didn't slam doors. I didn't pace. I sat at the kitchen table and opened my laptop like I was at work. The quiet plans started that night. First, I pulled up the wedding spreadsheet. I stared at the numbers and realized those deposits weren't romantic promises. They were transactions. Transactions can be reversed, canceled, refunded, transferred. Transactions have policies. I opened the folder I kept for wedding emails, venue contract, photographer agreement, caterer invoice. Everything had confirmation emails, dates, contact names, and cancellation terms. I created a new folder and called it what it was, documentation. Then I did the logical steps, not angry steps, not revenge steps, steps. I checked the bank accounts. We did not share a checking account, thank God, but she was an authorized user on one of my credit cards because early on she said it was logical for her to have it for wedding purchases. I had added her because I trusted her. That night, I logged into my card account, clicked Manage Authorized Users, and removed her name. It didn't cancel her as a person. It just removed her access to my credit line, clean and lawful. I changed the passwords on the wedding vendor accounts we had set up under my email. Not hacking, just my accounts, my logins. I saved screenshots of everything, not for a court case, for reality. I drafted cancellation emails but didn't send them yet. Timing mattered. I wanted it clean, not chaotic. And I didn't sleep much. The next morning, Kendra came home like the night before was a little glitch. She walked in, heels in hand, hair perfect, and said, "So, are you done with your little mood?" I looked up from my coffee. "We're not getting married." She blinked like I'd spoken another language. "What?" "I'm canceling the wedding," I said, "today." She laughed once sharp. "You can't just cancel. We've already posted the date." "Sounds logical," I said, and watched her face tighten. Then she did what she always did when things didn't go her way. She switched from playful to mean. "You're overreacting because you're insecure," she snapped. It was a joke. I was making a point about planning. "You're always so basic." Basic. There it was again, the word that told me exactly what she thought I was. I didn't argue. I didn't defend my masculinity. I didn't beg for respect. I said, "I'll send you details for picking up your things." And then I left for work like it was any other day, because the best way to handle a manipulator is to take away the theater. She called me 8 times before lunch. I didn't pick up. Around noon, I sent one message. "We will communicate by text only, no calls." It wasn't cruel, it was boundary. Then I executed. Kendra had a dress fitting scheduled at 2:00 p.m. at a bridal boutique in Uptown. She'd been talking about it for weeks. Her mom was coming, her maid of honor. She planned to film little clips in the mirror and post them. Public, high stakes, image heavy. Perfect timing. At 1:10 p.m., I emailed the venue. "This is my name, contract number. I am canceling the event scheduled for September 14th. Please confirm the cancellation and any refund terms as outlined in the agreement." I hit send. At 1:14 p.m., I emailed the photographer. At 1:18 p.m., I emailed the caterer. At 1:23 p.m., I emailed the DJ. Each email was short, polite, and factual. I didn't insult her. I didn't write an essay. I kept it the way businesses respond to. Then I opened the florist inquiry she had started under my email and canceled that too, because I wasn't going to let anything else get charged. Finally, I checked the card again to make sure her authorized user status was removed. It was. I sat back in my chair at my desk, breathed once, and waited. The first call came at 2:37 p.m. I let it ring out. Then the text hit my phone in all caps. "What did you do? My card just got declined at the boutique. Are you serious right now?" I stared at the screen for a second, then replied, "You're not on my card anymore." 3 dots appeared, disappeared, reappeared. Then, "You humiliated me in front of everyone. Fix this." I didn't feel satisfaction. I felt something calmer, like when you finally replace a faulty part and the machine runs right. I replied, "I didn't humiliate you, you did." Then another text. "The venue just emailed me saying ITS canceled. Call me now." I waited 2 minutes, then I called her once because I wanted one clean phone call to close the loop. She answered on the first ring, voice shaking with anger and panic. I could hear boutique noise in the background, voices, hangers clinking, her mom saying something faintly. "Are you out of your mind?" she hissed. "Do you have any idea what you just did?" I kept my tone even. I canceled the wedding. "Because of a joke," she snapped. "You're a child." "It wasn't a joke," I said. "It was a statement about how you see me." She scoffed. "Oh my God, you're making it about you. You always do this. You can't handle that I have standards." I paused, then I said the lines I'd rehearsed in my head all night, not to hurt her, but to be clear. "You told me in public you'd rather have kids with your ex because he has better genetics, and that my job is to provide," I said. "I'm not marrying someone who talks about me like a resource." She started talking over me fast. "You're twisting it. You're dramatic. You're jealous because Colby." I cut in, still calm. "Second, you no longer have access to my credit or accounts. You can pick up your belongings on Saturday at 10:00 a.m. I will have a witness present. If you prefer, I can have them boxed and moved to my garage." Her voice went high. "A witness? What is wrong with you?" "It's logical," I said. There was a beat of silence, like she heard the word the way I meant it. Then she went cold. "You're ruining my life." I said, "No, I'm correcting mine." And I ended the call. That was it. No screaming match, no tearful bargaining, just a closed door. The next 3 days were exactly what you'd expect when you take away an image-obsessed person's stage. She tried to build a new one out of public sympathy. She posted a long story on social media that night, a black screen with white text, dramatic, vague, full of phrases like, "When a man can't handle a strong woman," and I ignored the red flags. Then she went more specific. "He canceled our wedding because he's insecure and controlling. He financially abused me by cutting me off. He's punishing me because I have standards." Friends started messaging me, not all of them, but enough. "What happened? Is it true? Man, you okay?" I didn't want to get dragged into an online war, but I also wasn't going to let lies sit there like truth. So I did what I always do. I responded once with facts. I posted a single statement on my page. "For anyone hearing rumors, I canceled the wedding after my fiancée told me, at dinner with witnesses, that she would prefer to have children with her ex because he has better genetics and that I'm a provider. I'm not discussing this further." Then I attached 2 screenshots. One was a text from her that she sent the morning after the dinner, where she wrote, "You're overreacting. It's logical to want good genetics." The other was a text where she wrote, "You should pay because you're stable." No secret recording, no illegal access, her own words, my own receipts. Then I went silent. I didn't reply to comments. I didn't argue with her friends. I didn't call her names. Silence is powerful when you've already posted the facts. The smear campaign lost oxygen fast because people don't like defending someone when the receipts are clean. Her cousin messaged me privately that night. "I'm sorry," she wrote. "I heard what she said. You didn't deserve that." That message mattered more than any public apology because it confirmed what I already knew. It wasn't in my head. It happened. Move-out day was Saturday at 10:00 a.m., like I said. I asked my buddy Devin to be there. Devin is a retired sheriff's deputy, the calmest man I know. He agreed without questions, not as muscle, as a witness, someone neutral who keeps things civil. I also arranged for my building's courtesy officer to be aware, because Kendra had a habit of getting loud when she didn't get her way. Nothing dramatic, just a heads up, so no one could accuse me of something later. I boxed her things the night before, neatly, labeled, shoes in one box, clothes in garment bags, makeup in a plastic bin, jewelry in a small sealed bag I asked her to inventory on site. I did it like a move-out from a rental, respectful, organized, emotionally dead. At 9:55, Devin showed up and stood by the doorway with a coffee like he was waiting for a plumber. At 10:02, Kendra arrived in a white SUV with her mom in the passenger seat. Kendra got out first, sunglasses on, mouth tight. She looked at Devin, then at me, and said, "Seriously, you brought security." "Witness," I corrected, "for everyone's comfort." She scoffed, "You're insane." Her mom got out and walked up like she wanted to go into battle. "How could you do this to her?" she said, "after everything she's invested." I didn't take the bait. I just said, "Her things are boxed. We can do this quickly." Kendra walked past me like I didn't exist, then stopped and looked around the apartment like she was searching for something, maybe guilt, maybe regret, maybe a way back in. She didn't find it. "Where's my ring?" she asked sharply. I had already thought about that. The ring was still in the safe where I'd put it after she went to sleep the night after the dinner, not as theft, as protection. I paid for it, and it was an engagement ring, not a married asset, and I wasn't going to let it disappear in the chaos. I opened the safe, took out the ring box, and held it out. "You can take it," I said, "or you can leave it, but we're not negotiating anything else." Her eyes flicked to it, then to my face. She tried a different tone, softer, like a switch. "Can we talk alone?" she asked. "No," I said. Her lips pressed together. "You're really doing this." "I already did," I said. She picked up a box, then set it down. She looked at Devin again like she wanted him to vanish. Then she looked back at me and her voice dropped. "You're throwing away a woman who could elevate you," she said. "Do you realize what you are without me? You're just a guy." There was the truth again. Her version of love was an upgrade plan. I nodded once, slow. "Sounds logical," I said, "if you see people as ladders." Her face flushed. "That is not what I—" "Kendra," I said, and my voice stayed low, "you told me you'd rather build a family with your ex's genetics and my money. I'm not your resource. I'm not your backup plan." Her mom started to say something, but Devin cleared his throat, not threatening, just a reminder that this wasn't going to turn into a scene. Kendra's eyes watered suddenly, and for a second she looked like a person, not a performance. "I didn't mean it like that," she said, quieter. "I was stressed. Wedding planning messes with your head. I was trying to be honest." I believed that she was honest. That was the problem. I said honesty is expensive when it's cruel. She reached for my arm like we were still us, and I stepped back. "Your things are here," I said. "You have 15 minutes, then we're done." She stared at me like she couldn't understand a man not bargaining for her attention. Then she did what she always did when she lost control. She aimed for a final jab. "Colby would never treat me like this," she snapped. I nodded once, like she'd just confirmed the paperwork. "Then you should go be with him," I said. "That's the logical outcome." She froze because she realized I wasn't angry. I wasn't jealous. I wasn't begging to compete. I was done. They loaded the boxes in silence. Her mom muttered under her breath. Kendra walked out last, ring box in her hand. At the doorway, she turned back with her sunglasses off, eyes red. "You're making a huge mistake," she said. I answered with the same calm line from that first night, the one she couldn't shake. "Then it should be easy for you to replace me," I said. "Good luck." And I closed the door. The aftermath was quieter than I expected. A few weeks later, I heard through mutual friends that Kendra and Colby were talking again, then dating, then official. It lasted maybe 2 months. Apparently, Colby liked the idea of being the premium option until it came time to do premium work, steady work, real life work. He didn't want to help with bills. He didn't want to plan. He didn't want to be responsible. He wanted the highlight reel. When Kendra tried to make him step into the role she wanted, provider, planner, stability, he vanished like smoke. That's not karma like lightning. That's karma like gravity. As for me, I took a weekend and did the boring things that actually heal a man. I changed my locks. I updated my beneficiaries. I moved my savings to a different bank branch so I wouldn't run into her. I took the money I would have spent on the wedding, what I got back from a couple of deposits, plus what I stopped spending, and I paid off my truck early. I took my mom to a nice dinner. I bought myself a new mattress because my old one always squeaked and I'd been ignoring it. My life got quieter, and in that quiet, I realized how loud I'd been living just to keep up with someone else's image. About 5 months later, I met a woman named Hannah at a friend's backyard cookout. She was 31, worked in compliance for a credit union, and had a calm way of speaking that felt like a soft room after a bright, noisy store. We talked about normal things, families, work, how annoying it is to schedule car maintenance. She laughed at my jokes without turning them into a performance. On our third date, I mentioned the engagement casually, not as a sob story, just as a fact. Hannah didn't ask what kind of ring it was. She didn't ask what the venue looked like. She asked one question. "Were you okay?" she said. And that simple question felt more like love than anything I'd heard in the year before. Every now and then, someone will bring up Kendra because life in a city has echoes. I heard she moved apartments twice in a year. I heard she posted a lot about leveling up and not settling and knowing your worth. I also heard she started dating someone new and then posted a dramatic breakup story weeks later. Maybe she'll change someday, maybe she won't. But I learned my lessons so cleanly that I don't even feel bitter. When someone tells you who you are to them, provider, resource, backup, average, believe them the first time. And when they wrap cruelty in the word logical, remember, logic without respect is just a polite way to dehumanize you. So yes, she said she wanted my money and her ex's genetics, like it was a smart plan, and I gave her the only answer that actually made sense. Sounds logical. If you've ever had to choose between being loved and being used, drop your thoughts in the comments. I read more than you think.